Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is having a beautiful Tuesday. I am obviously on the front porch like I always am because it's such a nice day. And I am so excited for this week. It is our final week of the Career Compass series where we kind of explore career alternatives and non-traditional positions that nurses can do beyond the bedside if you're not ready to start your own business. I have a very special guest that I'm so excited about. I have Nadine Kassity-Krich. Hi, Nadine.
Hi, good to see you. Good to be here.
You too. Nadine is the director of the Nursing Leadership Program and the clinical at the Hahn School of Nursing. So I've worked with her some and the team. They were at our conference, and I'm so excited for all of you guys to hear what she's got to say, because today's focus is going to be on education, leadership, professional growth opportunities, and just all kinds of great, valuable information. So without Dean, can you tell us a little bit about you? Give us.
Sure. A little bit about my background. I'm sorry, there's a little delay. Okay. Are you okay?
Might be a little frozen. Okay.
All right. A little bit about myself. My background, I've been in nursing a couple of decades, and I started out in the NICU and did cardiac and ECMO and transport, and became the outreach ambassador for Rady Children's Hospital here in San Diego, and got to travel all over and educate and inform healthcare professionals on the care of neonates. And from there, I went to the Leland Kaiser Fellowship and on integrative medicine, and then co-chaired the integrative medicine program at Rady Children's with the chief medical staff at the time, and then authored a book with a fellow neonatologist, Dr. Jamie Jones, on First Heal Thyself, Care the Caretaker. We talked a lot about that at various conferences, and then I got recruited at USD, and so I landed there in 2011, and have been loving it ever since, paying it forward and teaching and educating our future nurses. And currently, my role is the co-director of the Masters in Nursing Leadership program. It's an online program, the clinical placement piece where a student is. So that's kind of the unique piece. Additionally, I also work on the certification courses that we have here, 9-unit courses on healthcare conflict resolution. We're working on a community health one as well. And then lastly, getting ready to launch a podcast, and that will be called The Lantern, and that will be in the next couple of months.
Oh my gosh, that's so much. You have such an awesome history. I didn't even know you wrote a book. That's so cool. I'll have to look into that. How long ago was that?
It was about 10 years ago. And the long story short was we spoke about Care the Caretakers at quite a few conferences, and everybody kept asking us at the end, do you have a book? Do you have a book? And finally we looked at each other and said, well, let's write a book. Little did we know the journey that would take us down. Anyway, so we ended up writing the book, and it's available. We originally wrote it for nursing schools and medical schools, and now hospice has picked it up, and it really can be for anybody that is a caretaker, which is all of us in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. That's especially good we just passed National Mental Health Day. And I was thinking about that. It's so hard to be a caretaker sometimes because you're expected to pour all of you into someone else. And then when you actually need it, it's like, you're like, I can't prioritize myself. I have patients to care for, or my family, so I love that. That's so amazing. So for those who may not be familiar, can you kind of tell us a little more in detail about Hahn School of Nursing and the programs that y'all offer for nurses?
Oh, absolutely. We just celebrated our 51st year as the
Oh,
Hahn School of Nursing, and USD 75 years. So we have a little bit of wisdom under our belts. Um, we have a variety of programs. We have the pre-licensure program, which is the MEPIN program, Master's Education Program for Nurses. And then we also have the DNP, a PhD, nurse practitioner programs. We're soon to be launching a BSN to PhD program. I'm very excited about that one. And then the program that I'm co-directing with Dr. Backlig, which is the MSN in Nursing Leadership program, and that just launched this fall. So we
wow.
have something for everybody that's interested in nursing at the graduate level.
I love that. Yeah, when we spoke, you told me so many of these programs and what you could do with them and how it could really benefit you as a nurse that is maybe wanting to be in a leadership position or education. So, what are some like career paths that you see nurses take? Maybe just some of the nurses that aren't sure what they're going to do but want to further their education that are overlooked but are very high potential opportunities.
Yeah, there are so many ways to go. There's the traditional climbing the ladder in the administrative track in the hospital setting. Whether it's a nurse manager, director, CNO, and beyond. So that's sort of one of the typical traditional ways to go. However, as you know, with just your organization, there are so many innovative ways that nurses can go, and countless jobs, and some are even being created as we speak. But in terms of innovation, so their own consulting opportunities, whether they're coaching nurses to start their own businesses, or coaching students on a variety of ways they can go. They can work in academia as faculty, clinical faculty, theory faculty. They can take clinical groups out to the community setting, to the hospital setting, to the clinic setting. They can also go into public health. And with the pandemic, in the last several years, public health has really gotten a lot of, I think, news and interest. There are so many
Mhm.
ways to go there in public health and community agencies. Financial literacy is also important for nurses, and I think looking at policy and having financial acumen in their background is very important to move policy forward, to transform healthcare and working conditions for nurses and healthcare professionals, and also, just quality and safety, which are sort of the bedrocks of nursing in any aspect that you go. Um, Writing and consulting. Currently I'm an item writer for the CNL exam, and so there's another aspect, reviewing
Oh,
textbooks
wow.
and journals, and there's so many ways. I probably could go on and on, but it's wide open, and nurses are creating new ways every day.
Yeah, you're so right. I think so many things I've learned, especially I've learned about since part of the MBA and opportunities that I didn't even realize an option for nurses. So it's really exciting. And I kind of have, it's kind of become my passion to even just like educate nurses on what is possible. Like it's not just like you own your own business and have home care or you work at the bedside. Like there are thousands of opportunities. So I love that you mentioned all those because even those were some of the things I wouldn't have even thought of. So I really love that. Um, how do you guys identify like with a nurse if a nurse is saying like I'm not really sure which way I want to go, but I know I want to go some way forward? How do you identify whether like the leadership program or the graduate education or like certifications are right for a nurse? Like what is some of the entry process. Does that make sense? Like the
Yes,
admission?
yes. I usually, in advising students or future applicants or just nurses that are, kind of unsure of which way they want to go, I usually ask them, what excites you? What interests you? Do you like educating your families? Do you like being at the computer and seeing, what sort of data comes out of, some particular study that, fascinates you? Do you have a leader or a even a colleague that you admire? And if so, what do you admire about them? The fact that they can bring teams together, the fact that they, move policy forward, the fact that they're creative. And one of my colleagues in the NICU many years ago, long before there were all different varieties of scrubs, that was her business, scrubs. She was a seamstress.
Oh,
And
wow.
she was the very first one to come up with scrubs that were, different colors, different patterns. Um, and, she loved, being a seamstress, and she put, those two things together. So I usually just say, let's just sit here and brainstorm and think of the things that excite you or that light you up, or that, time just passes and you don't realize it. Okay, so let's figure out what those things are or what that thing
Hmm.
is. And then let's see what career paths can line up or align with that. And so that's how I usually have, um, you know, uh, people, nurses, students, applicants start. And usually, they come up with a couple of ideas. Sometimes I'll even say, what would your friends say are your gifts? What would your
Oh,
parents
I
say are your
love
gifts? Because
that.
sometimes you don't even realize your own gifts. And when you
Hmm.
think about it that way, they'll come up with, oh, well, my friend says that, I'm a really good writer. Okay, well, let's look at the options then that might
Right.
align with that sort of gift that you've got.
Yeah, I love that. That's really valuable. Hi. Sorry, I an Amazon packages are coming.
Oh, well, that's very important, and I definitely understand and relate to that.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I got a little off track. But no, I love that. I love the what excites you question. It's super valuable. And most people are leaving the bedside because they're not passionate about it. They're burnt out. They don't feel valued. They're not excited to go to work. That was like a huge thing for me. I was like, I just don't like it. I don't want to do it, and it's not enjoyable. So I love that you do that and kind of help people. It's sort of a discovery phase you have to go through to like what would feel good, what does my ideal day look like, what does my ideal career look like. So I love that.
Exactly. Exactly. And sometimes, it changes. So you're not
Mhm.
locked into anything. And that's another wonderful thing about the profession is, you can do a number of different things simultaneously or evolving. So, if this doesn't work or this doesn't interest you, then move in this direction or that direction. So
Mhm.
there's, a lot of leeway there. You're not stuck in any one role. I think also keeping that in mind, you're not choosing this forever. You don't have to do this forever unless you want to.
Mhm.
I think that opens up sort of the opens up your mind into what other possibilities are out there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think once you do one thing, you're learning skills, you're meeting new people. Maybe you meet a client that asks you to do something else, and now you have another skill and you might switch into something else. I mean, look at where you started in nursing and where I started and where we are now. It's just totally different. And I probably wouldn't have said, I want to do this, but now that I'm doing it, I'm learning new things that I'm good at or really enjoy and meeting new people that are inspiring. So you totally hit the nail on the head there. Um, so for like your leadership programs and your nurses that go into leadership, what skills do you see that are really critical for these nurses who want to transition into the leadership roles?
I think communication is important. It's really key in most anything. However, if you are wanting to go into leadership, you need to know how to communicate in different scenarios, different situations. Usually, just being genuine is the best way to be.
Hmm.
There's no simple formula on that. Um, But I would say communication, financial literacy is important. I think historically nurses were not real strong in that area. It wasn't in our, education. I think in leadership it is. It's a strong piece of the education now, to understand operations and system awareness. I think so, to have the big picture as well as being able to drill down. And then also emotional intelligence. I think most nurses, I can say, probably are very good in that area of emotional intelligence, being caretakers, oftentimes nurturers, ethical in decision making. I think that those are qualities that really help transform healthcare, and whether it's the bedside or the systems level. And so I think those real world, real life skills are probably key. And then bottom line with nurses, I think most, if not all, are lifelong learners. And like you just mentioned, here we are today, very different from where we were, and we're constantly learning. And I think so, as long as when you go into leadership, if you're willing and open to continue to learn and sort of pivot here and there as you face different situations, I think that keeps it fresh and keeps you evolving, and keeps I think respect for your team, and your team for you.
Yeah, so true. I think flexibility is huge, like just being able to kind of learn and being willing to learn. And you're going to probably sometimes be surprised at the things that you are really good at that you don't think you're good at, or skills that you have or could learn. You just got to put yourself in the position to learn them.
Exactly.
So I'm curious, if someone were to like what is the process when it decides to take the leap with you all? So say I'm your student and I said, I love people. I like to help. I am not good at delegating. I don't want to be a leader. I want to do something. And we decide on a program. What's next? Your programs are virtual, correct? You have some virtual options, or is it? Tell me a little bit more about that.
So we would sort of narrow down what program you're most interested in and where you are in your life, in terms of, do you want to come to an on-ground program at USD? Do you want to go to an online program? So if you choose, and right now, it seems like the most interest that we have is for the working professional, and that is our online program, and that's the Master's in Nursing Leadership I mentioned. And the theory portion is online, the clinical piece, which is customized to the student wherever they are, in terms of, we're approved in 15 states. So it's sort of nice, even though we'd love you to come to our lovely campus. We're biased, but we think it's a beautiful campus. But if you are, in another state that we're approved in, you can actually do your clinical practicum there, and even in your place of employment if you prefer. And that way we can vet a preceptor for you, or you can identify one, and you can continue your education right where you are, and your career trajectory will just continue to go along in your own place of employment, which is often what the students choose. And again, it's customized to the students' career trajectory, to their goal. And in that program in particular, there's also the nurse educator track and the informatics track. Both of those seem to be very popular right now. And nurse education, as we spoke earlier, you could be faculty, you could be clinical faculty. So you could be education at the bedside, you could be an educator at a community public agency, at a camp. There's so many areas of the diabetes clinic. Informatics, that can be completely remote. You can be...
Sorry, I lost you a little bit
there. Okay. But you can be remote. It can be, in the corporate side. We've got students that are very interested in corporate industry. I did that for a little bit of time too, or recruiting agency for nurses, traveling agency. working for Apple. So there's so
Oh,
many areas.
wow.
So yeah, there's so many areas. I mean, so we just sort of again narrow down, what interests the student or the applicant, and then what's going to work for your lifestyle. Um, and do you want to go part time? Do you want to go full time? And you know, we've got a program for all the different lifestyles, and then from there, depending upon, let's say you get your master's in nurse leadership, and you do that for a few years, and then you think, well, now I want to get my PhD. And so then there's, a program for that. So we've got kind of the spectrum at USD. Um,
Hmm.
so I just say, we sort of just stay in close communication with our students and our applicants, and just try to meet their needs where they are, and then join them in the journey.
Yeah, I love that. Nurses have such a unique voice, and I feel like y'all's program really helps amplify that and helps encourage them and support them. So I'm really excited to hopefully work more with you guys, because I think it could be super valuable to our members, and also like me or anyone that is looking to move forward a little bit in their career. So I want to give you a chance to talk a little bit more about like how we can find you guys, but I do have a question that's a little off, but um what advice would you give to a nurse if they said, I don't know what I want to do yet. I am ready to change. I know that you said you would ask them like, how would you, what would you like to do? What are you good at? What are you passionate about? But I think so many nurses, especially NNBA members and people that are interested in the NNBA, feel uncertain where to begin. Is there a career path that you feel like is um, most flexible and gives people a lot of options? Am I making sense with this
Yeah,
question?
sure. I think what I would recommend if somebody doesn't really know, they don't have a starting place, in addition to, trying to figure out what they love, is I would say go to conferences like the NNBA conferences,
That's right.
because there's a variety, especially at the NNBA. And Casey did not pay me to say this, but I will say that there's a variety there of all kinds of opportunities, and nurses that are fresh out of school, emerging leaders, seasoned leaders, leaders that have, maybe have been in the field for a long time, but are switching gears, or due to, family situations, they're, going back for a second career. So you meet a variety at the NNBA conference. And so I would say that would be one place to start, is go to a conference. NNBA has a nice variety, so that might be one place to start. Um, there are a variety of conferences, but that would be, I think there's just such a variety at that of nurses at that conference. So I would say look at conferences, see what interests you, listen to webinars, listen to podcasts, talk to people, and also try to find people that you maybe admire, and then figure out in the field, and figure out, why do you admire them? What is it about them? And talk to them. What path did they take? I guarantee it wasn't a straight line, and which is fine, because you often find out what you want to do, uh, you know, along the way, and it might be a left turn instead of a right.
Mhm.
And education, again, like I said earlier, nurses are lifelong learners, so I feel like, if you don't know
Mhm.
what to do, but you're interested in advancing your career in terms of education, you can't go wrong there. Um, Nurses are always advancing, whether it's certifications, whether it's degrees,
Mhm.
whether it's just listening and learning at conferences, or webinars or podcasts. Something will click,
So true.
and I think those are the variety of ways that I would start. And once you find something that lights you up, or that interests you, then go down that road a little bit. Talk to people that are in that situation. Read up on it, but I would say mostly talk to people, because they can tell you what it's really like, and they
Mhm.
can share the lessons that they've learned along the way.
Yeah, definitely surround yourself with people that have done it themselves. That's why we always say that like communicate or connection is so important in community. And that's what we're really trying to foster with the NNBA because you wouldn't ask someone who's been a bedside nurse for 40 years how to start a business and in IV nursing or something. They're just not going to know. Maybe that just wasn't their thing. So definitely being surrounded by nurses that have done it themselves and deal with that kind of stuff every day. It's super valuable. Um, well, Nadine, I'm so grateful that you joined. I'm sorry that we had a little bit of technical difficulty. I don't know, probably because I'm on the front porch, but but is there anything you want to share? I know that you said that the Lantern was your podcast that you guys were going to be starting soon. Where can the nurses find you if they're interested in talking more about furthering their education? Anything you'd like to plug?
Okay. Well, I definitely say, please, come one, come all if you're interested in USD. Having said that, I also want to say any nursing program, of course, that works for you. If you are interested in USD, the Hahn School of Nursing, you can certainly reach out to me personally. And my email is nkkRich@sandiego.edu. So you can reach out to me personally, or nursing@sandiego.edu will get you to our admissions director, and then she will kind of send you to whatever program you may be interested in. And that would be nursing@sandiego.edu. We pride ourselves in,
No
and
wonders.
I really do mean this, is that the reason I stay there is because we listen to our students and we make changes. Some work, some don't, but we make changes accordingly. And then the faculty, we've got an amazing network across the country, very connected, very tight. And those are the two things that I would say that are special. It really is a concierge type service, and we really do like to lock arms and cross the finish line with you. So anyway, I'd love to connect with you, but if not me, I will see you at an NNBA conference possibly. And I'm just so happy that Casey asked me to be here. Thank you so much, Casey. And I'm so excited for the directions that the NNBA is taking. We can't wait to be there. I will be there with our director of admissions, Gina, and maybe a few more of us will be there too, but we look forward to it. And also some of our students, we like to get them interested in conferences and connection early on when they first come to USD. So NNBA is one of the conferences that we bring up to them as well.
Awesome. That's so great. I'm so excited for y'all to be there. I know next year is going to be a lot different and hopefully a lot of great ways. We're really trying to listen to any feedback that anyone's been giving us. And also, I've gone to the conference for the last 4 years. My sister's gone for the last 5. And so we can't wait to see what direction this takes as well. And thank you so much. I know that you have a really busy schedule, but I appreciate you making time. I think this is super valuable and a huge question that people have. Like, what do I do next? I think being afraid is a big part of it, but I think not knowing is an even bigger part of it, just not knowing where to go next. So I am super excited to share this with everyone, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too. And yes, remember, not knowing is just the first step. That means you're ready to grow. So there's a lot of ways you can go. So thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to seeing you at the conference and connecting with you between now and then.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Have a good day. Thank
You
you.
too. Bye-bye.